Diamondlot, The Diamond Squad. By Eric Waugh. Chapter 26. Abducted. Further into the Adeni plains were wooden dummies with targets on them. Standing in the distance from the wooden targets was a hunter who held a recurved bow with a quiver filled with arrows. The speed at which he was able to launch the arrows was amazing, but what was even scarier was how accurate the man was. Not only did he land an arrow on each target, but all of them were bullseyes. He walked up to one of the targets to reclaim one of his bolts. He picked up an unfamiliar scent and immediately fired the arrow towards where the scent was coming from. The arrow clanked off something, which made the man reach for another arrow. However, Olivia popped out of the bush to tell the hunter named Rhyen that her and Vance had returned with guests. Slowly, Nathan and Bella appeared out of the bushes along with Vance. They were hiding to get a sneak peek of Ryan's archery skills. Not a man of many words, he went into the cottage without acknowledging Bella or Nathan's presence. While Olivia was preparing the food, everyone else waited at the table. Rhyen had no interest in speaking with Bella or Nathan, while Vance was looking around, avoiding eye contact. When the food was nearly done, Olivia called for her brother to help her. Vance happily went when he heard his name, leaving Bella, Rhyen, and Nathan by themselves. Nathan attempted to start up a conversation, but Rhyen would only give one-word answers. Having had enough of his attitude, Bella stood up in outrage. Not wanting to reply, Rhyen stood up from his seat and walked away. As he was doing so, Olivia and Vance were coming out with the food, while he slammed the door shut on his way out. The twin mages pretended as if nothing happened. Nathan wasted no time once the food was all set and began to help himself. Bella and Vance were eating at normal speed while Olivia was setting some food aside for Rhyen when he returned. Bella couldn't shake off her first interaction with the hunter, so she asked Olivia more about him. She explained how Rhyen used to have a pet companion, a cute tiny Maltipoo, that he had by his side. She wasn't the most capable hunting dog, but Rhyen cared for her. One day, she went missing without a trace. Ever since that day, Rhyen has searched tirelessly for her. Bella wanted to ask more questions, but she didn't know how much Olivia was willing to share. In her delay, Nathan asked for seconds, so Olivia went to the kitchen to get him more food. After Olivia left, Bella's appetite had suddenly disappeared. She left the remaining food on the table and left the cottage for some fresh air. That left just Nathan and Vance, who saw his opportunity to share a dark joke. Upon hearing what he said, Olivia rushed out to smack Vance in the head. Nathan moved a seat away from Vance, grabbed the food that Olivia got for him, and continued eating. Meanwhile, outside the cottage, Bella sat down and looked up at the sky. Her head was starting to hurt and she was hoping some fresh air would help. She lay down near the cottage and closed her eyes. When Bella reopened her eyes, she saw that the sky was now dark and the moon was out. She had fallen asleep, and as she was about to return inside, she heard someone coming out of the cottage. It was Olivia, closing the door quietly and sneaking out into the woodlands. Seeing Olivia acting peculiar, she followed the cleric. After traversing into the woodlands, Olivia hid behind a thicket of bushes. Bella, who had followed her closely, reached out with her hand and tapped her on the shoulder. Olivia was startled, but she kept herself from screaming. She was glad to see that it was Bella behind her. Bella was filled with questions, but the mage signaled Bella to remain silent as there was something happening beyond the bushes. There were two figures speaking. One was Rhyen, but the other was someone neither of them recognized. She was a woman covered in a dark cloak with a giant scythe behind her back, and she emitted a terrifying aura. The woman spoke about making a trade and returning something that belonged to Rhyen. He was contemplating her offer, but Olivia appeared to knock some sense into Rhyen. He tried to warn Olivia to stay away, but in an instant, the cloaked woman disappeared. She then reappeared behind Olivia and knocked out the cleric. Seeing her friend unconscious, Bella roared out with her spear. The woman with the scythe saw her new opponent and attempted to use the same attack. She appeared behind her opponent, but Bella was ready to block the attack. Instead of wasting time to warm up, she cast a spectral chain that caught Bella off guard. It wrapped around her, preventing her from moving. The woman swung down her scythe and a giant blade beam made a direct hit on Bella and she fell to the ground. The woman began carrying Olivia over her shoulder, but she didn't seem that interested in Bella until she saw Bella struggling to get up. The woman was perplexed because no one else had survived such an attack from her before. She began to move towards Bella. Rhyen suspected that the woman was about to land the finishing blow, so he had to think fast. He fired an arrow that nicked the side of Bella's cheek. Bella touched the side of her cheek where she was struck and saw that she was bleeding, but more importantly, she started to feel dizzy. Before collapsing on the side, she told Rhyen what a coward he was. The woman called for her minions who were hiding in the surroundings to pick up Bella. Before leaving Rhyen, she told the hunters to bring the boy with the giant sword, and in exchange she would return Olivia back to him. That was the final message before she disappeared from his sight.